Should we start with clarifying what Cox and Co is? Well, should we stick to the agenda? Should we stick to the agenda?
Shit, you're right. We've already. Okay, yeah. This is where we put in the logo somewhere around here on our faces, and it fades away. Who's chairing the meeting?
God.
I tell you what, I'll let the co-founder chair the meeting on this occasion.
Go ahead.
That's not going to work,
I
mate.
feel like the most important thing when you have a initial company meeting is hearing from the most important person in the company. So I will more than happily start and say welcome, hello,
Okay.
good afternoon, Howard. How are you?
I'm good, Christopher. Although I'm slightly concerned that we're already getting off of topic. I think the next item on the agenda was to review the agenda.
I mean, I would say that the minimum in a greeting is "Hi, how are you?" followed by "I'm fine, how are you?" And I feel like you said you were fine when you asked me how I was. Maybe that should just go as a point of improvement for next time.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, sure. I'm not sure how you're going to issue those minutes from a chalkboard either, but you're the chair.
Okay, item 2 on the agenda is reviewing the agenda. Okay, well, we have greetings, which we've covered, and we've got review agenda, so that's where we are at the moment. Next point on the agenda is banter, professional banter.
Yeah, of course. Got to build those working relationships.
Yeah. What's happening? What are you doing? What am I doing? Any other business? We'll put a tick next to agenda then. Moving on to the third point on the agenda, professional banter. Would you like to start the professional banter?
Sure. Way, lads.
Wow.
Did you see that atrocious display last night?
As somebody who likes football, I genuinely get furious when somebody asks me if I've seen that ludicrous display.
See, I couldn't care less about football, and I absolutely love that sketch. And
it is.
Did you see that ludicrous display last night?
It is
because I've met people who the only form of conversation they could have with me was like, oh, do you into football? No, not really. That was it. They would just rather stand in awkward silence than talk about anything else. So I quite enjoyed, and that ended up turning into quite enjoying when people out there. No, I don't. That doesn't interest me. Do you want to find something else, some other common interest? No, that's your only interest. Okay, right, yeah. I turned into a game. It's quite fun.
The amount of times that I'm talking to people who don't like football and they say it to me.
I mean, you do realise you've just set yourself up here now.
I know.
The running punchline for the rest of this.
Yeah.
Professional banter. Do you see that ludicrous display last night, Chris?
Yeah.
I mean, it is just a great. But do you at least enjoy that episode with Moss trying to pretend he's a butch lad?
It's brilliant. It's genius. Still really annoys me. Having said that, I haven't paid attention to very much football at all for like a year or so. So I'm not exactly hardcore football fan.
One day, one fateful day, you're gonna say it.
I've probably said it.
I don't know about you, but I think that's quite enough professional banter.
Banter? Right, I'll take that.
Yeah, otherwise we're going to start getting behind on the agenda.
Yeah, I think we had a successful professional banter session there. Huh? What's happening is the next point on the agenda. Shall I do a brief history of Cox and Co, and then
Yeah. You outline. You outline it. I'll try not to interrupt too much.
Okay. 2015, birthdays very close together, and doing a joint birthday thing, which was sort of dubbed Cox and Co birthday.
No, I can't believe you've forgotten this.
No, I know what it was called. I just wasn't sure where Cox and Co came in because I know it was called Bromageddon. Bromageddon!
Yes.
Which was the birthday. A video was produced. Two videos were produced.
Yeah. Before we could produce these videos, we had to form a production company that is now known as...
Which is now known as Cox and Co.
Cox and Co. So and actually, we probably could have double-checked the year it was formed by checking the credits of that video, which will never be made public.
That's true. Because I think the credits are even in like a BBC style MMX.
Yeah.
So we sat down under the sort of canopy area at your parents' house with a whiteboard, coming up with various different company branches.
Yes. Yeah. For the multinational conglomerate.
Yeah. And all under the Cox and Co umbrella, that be?
Well, yes, but the Cox and Co was also specifically the production.
Yes, so the Cox
company,
the production
branch
for the videos that then came.
The marketing,
which were two videos to essentially just announce a birthday gathering.
Which was called... I can't remember if we had already said this or not.
Which was Bromageddon. So videos were made. Two videos were made. One which was the announcement, another which was more detailed, which I believe we wrote each other's lines for.
Yes, and
which
it went badly.
Very badly, very quickly. And there was a cake with a fantastic Cox and Co logo on.
I may have pictures of that. My parents had pictures, and I think I got copies of them, and we will insert them as appropriate.
Yeah. And that was it. That's how Cox and Co started.
We also did some videoing from some filming for something that would definitely will never see the light of day once we had built the forts.
Yeah, we built a fort and made like a short post-apocalyptic Nerf gun.
Blaster.
Nerf
blaster.
Video, which I don't even know if I ever finished editing it. I think I've got it somewhere. I'll have to have a look. So we also made that.
We can do an episode about that, perhaps, chit-chatting. We'll reminisce about that another time. There's some prime content, I think. I convinced you, somehow we agreed that the way to do it convincingly would be to actually tie you to the chair.
Yeah. So I was tied to a chair, and you were genuinely hitting me in the face.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Good day.
There was also some simulated urination on your half, I believe. Bringing us back on track. That was the last video we made. 5 years passed. You moved to Coventry. I moved to Hitchin and then back to Suffolk and various things. You've had a few sort of lockdown projects that you've done, and generally projects over time. I've had similar.
Yeah.
A way to keep us both motivated to do them, I think, was the original premise, was to do these where we can talk about them and also do other videos about those projects, and hopefully that will keep us ploughing through them and producing some good stuff.
A mixed behind the scenes / join us as we figure this all out.
Yeah.
We have a clue what we're doing.
Exactly.
Let's work it out together.
So my assumption is that quality will slowly increase, but that we will be figuring out how this properly works as time
very
goes on.
slowly.
Very slowly. That's what's happening, I suppose. It will be, hopefully, I suppose this will just be any sort of some updates on projects and stuff that we're doing, but also any other things we decide we want to do, and when life allows and we can be in the same place and make some stuff and go from there. Have we covered what's happening?
I think we've covered what's happening as a whole.
What do you enjoy working
on? Lots of things. Generally, making stuff.
There we go. Lots of things.
there's a bit of an anecdote where I had to do a similar thing when I was on placements at my job. So I was working with a new team. Ironically, this was nearer the end of the placement than the start, but was asked to jot down some things about myself to introduce myself to the wider team, like the teams we work with alongside the immediate one I was in. And it's a very short notice. Oh, by the way, Howard, have you got a suitable headshot picture to use? And can you just send me some of your interests? The manager I was working for on placement, and I sent some things about the stuff I like to do, and he basically was like, "Oh, how about we say this instead to make it sound a little bit more exciting?"
I mean, that's a bit blunt and cruel, isn't it?
Unfortunately, they may actually now know who they are. But looking back on it, I find it incredibly amusing. Actually, I don't find it amusing at the time, but it did cut a little bit.
Name 5 things. 5 project areas, maybe.
Well, number 1, things with engines.
Yeah.
Mostly cars these days. Was a little bit of motorbikes before the accident happened.
Which is a tale for another time.
Yeah, but that's ranged from, starting off with go-karts, building up to, off-road buggies and things. As a teenager, lucky enough to have had the space when growing up to these days actual cars. With the main project now being a 1988 BMW 7 Series. You may see a picture now. Or not. Yeah. Say number 2 is a recent discovery in lockdown, being my 3D printer, which is enabling me to make all sorts of things which I put off buying for a long time because I was buying things like milling machines and lathes instead, but is great fun. And you will see quite a few of the things that Chris and I have, our projects that we did some prototyping with at the very beginning. That was very good fun. A bit of cycling. Cycled a lot more when I was younger. Bought this for commuting. Barely getting used to commute at the moment. But occasionally get destroyed on weekend bike rides with my friends who will have gone on like 100-kilometer rides the day before, done a morning of Zwift sessions, and then proceed to kill me on a bike ride whilst dancing on their bike as they go up the climbs at times. So that's the state I'm in. I guess one of the best things, context, is Nerf blasters in general. Yeah. Sounds very childish. I enjoy it. Ta-da! Props. I don't know why I went all the way over there. You'll see in a bit more detail of where things have gotten a bit more out of hand than some paint jobs and some... Oh, there's a massive cobweb on there. Lovely. And I mean, it says it all. If I reach into my desk, there's also another one. I think that's 4 things. And number 5, I know you absolutely love this, Chris. It's one of your favourite hobbies. And again, is something I'm picking up recently. Warhammer. Yes. I can't be bothered to run all the way upstairs to grab those, so I'll maybe insert some pictures. Probably not. That one is definitely 5th on the how much gets worked on.
What particular things are being worked on right now?
I mean, I've done all sorts, but the main big project at the moment is this is for the testing, some weird pressure gauge stuff. This is a test prototype to check I've got my maths right. Although I think I need to buy a was it a chronograph or something for it? But is a little handheld launcher that right now looks like a syringe, but printed out of ASA and glued together, and a bit of ABS. We can do a live demo.
Satisfying.
Oh god, I forgot the fact that there's things coated in grease. I just hit my lampshade and I can just see a massive cloud of dust drifting down off of it.
To give a bit more clarity, I think the part of the idea is we'll have things like this where we talk in general, and then other videos where we just sit and look at like the blaster, because I think there's a really genuinely interesting backstory to that blaster, starting with us creating weird stuff in your garage with bits of elastic.
Yes.
Like it does.
Ooh.
There's like there's a good progression which deserves more time. Any other things that you're particularly working on at the minute?
I think that is everything.
Okay. I'll tick off. What are you working on? What are you doing? What am I doing?
What are you doing, Chris?
I suppose there's a few topics that I would go to and think of things for. Dungeons and Dragons has been the big one for the last year, possibly 2 years, of coming up with various things for, whether that is campaign writing, world building, which is an ongoing thing, which would be quite fun to actually go over one time. Various other bits of equipment for it. So what I think was one of the first things I did in last year was make my first own Dungeon Master screen, which we will get onto more in future videos, because that sort of prompted a bigger discussion which will be quite fun to go into. Other things, other sort of topics. Well, I'm sat in one of them. I suppose there's the pub.
Do you want to reveal the name of the pub rather than just the pub?
Yes, you probably can't quite see it, can you? Under the not quite.
It's the Arded Hound. Arded Hound.
The Bearded Hound, named after my lovely miniature schnauzer Stephen. We moved into this house earlier last year, and this was just a garden shed with pots of paint and odd bits of carpet and stuff in, and has now been painted. I've got some lights and a bar set up in here, and this is going to be an ongoing thing this year, because I'd like to make it better. I'd like to make it self-sustaining with solar panels. I'd like to. There's lots of stuff, but again, that's something I'm working on. I must have more interests. I always think this when I had these thoughts. I must have more interest.
It's really easy boiling down your entire, essentially, personality, hobbies, interests, and passions into a short, concise segment, easy to digest segment.
So there is another one, which is a project I've wanted to do for a long time. I've not started it yet. It will probably be later in the year. Is I want to make a couple of really good puppets. And that sounds really weird. I would love to. I remember the. Yeah. So that's another one for this year. So those are those are probably the main things. As far as what I'm working on now, the pub is an ongoing one. There's a little bit of D&D writing and stuff at the minute as well, as things currently. That is probably the main thing at the minute. I think that's it. Unless there's anything you can think of that I've missed out.
I mean, previously you've been pretty heavily involved in the nerf.
That's true. Yeah, I did. I showed while you were getting your things, because every good bar's got behind it.
That doesn't really let's call it the arsenal isn't really covered by the glimpse of that one.
No, it doesn't do it justice. To be honest, a lot of the video side of it, so the videos that we did in the past were genuinely really good fun. Like you said, a lot of them will never see the light of day.
Yeah.
But coming up with them and the ways to do them is always quite entertaining. There is one more thing I've thought of, actually, and I can't go into too much detail for another month. But genuinely love coming up with puzzle. It's a bit on the D&D side, I suppose. Puzzles and D&D, a lot like problem solving, that escape room style stuff. For my wife's birthday in a month's time, I have gone slightly all out, being aware that we can't go anywhere, so it'll all be at home. I've bought so much stuff that I will use again in the future to do, like, I can't.
Cox Coe buying lots of things.
I am not good with money.
Who are you, sir?
I really want to talk about it. I really want to talk about it, but I can't until it's done, and then I can go over all the things and show, because there's some stuff that's so cool. But
maybe try documenting it a little bit now, and then we can cut together a video.
Yes.
Later.
Yeah. So the last piece of the puzzle should come in the next few days, and then I'll start to maybe try and do a few little videos of putting the things together and how it's going to work. Yeah. So there's that as well. And Lego. Just going to throw Lego at the end there.
Oh God! How did either of us forget the Lego?
But I think that's it for what am I working on.
Yeah. Okay.
So that brings us to any other business. That lovely bike behind you. You are aware, the prospective audience aren't, but you're aware of a few people trying to do a cycling challenge
that I have yet to commit to, but carry on.
To commit to. Fancy it?
Is that it, or are we going to talk about the challenge?
Well, I'll discuss the challenge. So there's a few of us who want to try and be a bit more active this year, and have set a well, to be fair, some people who are doing it are already active. It's more people like myself who last year has been not very active, who needs to be, and set a goal. Each person's got an individual goal, and I'm keeping a tally of like a group target as well. And based on the number of people doing it, one person's walking, some people are running, some people are cycling. The total combined goal at the moment is 12,500 kilometers. I think you should jump on this target.
You know, I think for the sake, you've got me pretty much convinced, and for the sake of all our viewer, I'll commit to. I'll figure out what my target will be. But yeah, I'll get involved. I thought it might be worth refreshing our minutes and actions, because I think these are quite good. Some if we run through top priority. So our top priority, and we didn't get it done before launching, and was assign job titles. Should we just run through these?
Yeah.
I think for yourself, we have co-founder. The co-founder, that's a good one. God, our Lord. This one will make a bit more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then creative director, and then for myself, we have the founder, or founder, and savior, is its own title, and director of research and development.
So I'm going to go ahead and suggest that we call this now. I think first of all, we should both be founder.
We both be co-founder, if that's going to be, because if it's the founder,
I quite like
the founders. Just say the founders.
I quite like.
But that would be referring to both of us. Yeah.
Okay, if we're both co-founder, I quite like co-founder and creative director. I'm happy with that title. I would take that title.
So I quite like if we just roll them all together, and we could have the founders on the top.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're referred to on the top, when we're referred to individually, it'd be the co-founder, our Lord, the creative director, and then the co-founder and savior, the director of research and development.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Really irks me that I can't figure out good wording for an equivalent role for if you're the creative director, I feel like the role should be something director.
Technical director.
And I can't figure it out. And the best I've come up with this entire time is director of research and development. Or it could just be creative director and engineering director. Technical director.
Technical director.
Okay, let's do that. Is that done? I think we've done on the titles.
Great.
Green complete.
How do you close it? Technically, I'm running this particular board meeting, so I need to think of a good way to close the meeting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for your attendance in today's board meeting. You all know your actions to take away.
Although, did you see I sent you that like and subscription request that you need to review and approve?
Yes, I do need to review and approve the like and subscribe request. I will.
Okay.
I'll put that on the top of my my list for when I get back to the office. I don't know what the exiting equivalent of a cold open is. Epilogue?
Either it's just an absolute clanger where you just go, well, I think that's a good time to end. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I should have picked these things up a little bit more from consuming vast amounts of media and podcasts and things over the years, but it's disconcerting, isn't it, where you watch all these things and then you realise, oh crap, there's more thinking and effort goes into this, and I haven't even picked up on how they do it. Well, it gets very frustrating to some people who just manage to just
do it. Well, weirdly, a good first, I'm going to call it a cold closing because I don't know its actual name. I'm sure someone will tell me. Ironically, a good cold
hot open, hot closing.
A good temperate close. Is probably us talking about what you would do for a temperate close, and then it just sort of
fade out, just cuts. Yeah.